You're now tuned into the hottest podcast in the world, the Stay Woke Podcast, right here on TheSonicBreakdown.com.
Man, it's time to wake up. Get this cake up. Only thing I care about is switching.
Welcome back to another Stay Woke Podcast. This is DeRa Brinson, and you know the Stay Woke Podcast is presented by TheSonicBreakdown.com. If you haven't checked out a review, you're slipping. Go check that shit out. Today's going to be a special episode. It's going to be another Let's Talk About It. And today, for the Let's Talk About It segment, is going to be Caleborate, the real person. For those of you out there, you might not have heard, but if you haven't, again, you slipping. Go check him out. He's a rapper from Sacramento, reps the Bay hard, stayed in Berkeley. He goes by Caleborate, and he had a hit project that I found out about recently was 1993, and then he had a new album that came out in 2017 called Real Person. If you didn't know, he was on the Stay Woke Podcast Top 10 episode that we released for the Top 10 Albums of the Year. So that tells you the album's pretty dope. So
Thank you
let's hear from the man.
What's up?
Caleborate.
Yo, I'm glad to be here, Spence D. I'm glad to be here, man. Glad to be on the podcast. I've been looking forward to it for a minute because we've been talking about it ever since we first met. Spence, we've been talking about doing the podcast, so I'm glad to be here, man, for real.
We appreciate it. And we got another guest, a special guest, a co-host for this episode, and it's going to be Spencer. You heard him on several podcasts before. So what's up, man? Appreciate
What's
it.
going on, man? Thank you for having me again, man. It's a blessing to be here.
I want to let's get a little bit of background information. I know that's the standard for interviews.
Yeah, that's cool. It's always cool. It's funny. We was joking beforehand about it, but yeah, damn.
So you
rap, right?
That's right. Those are the kind of background questions I'll be like, oh man. But nah, I'm sorry. Continue.
So like I said, you are from Sacramento originally,
yes, sir.
And then you moved to the Bay, Berkeley.
Yeah, I moved to Berkeley, lived with my brother when I was 17.
Okay.
So I left Sac. Well, I take that back. Originally, I left Sac, went to go live with my mom in Antioch for like a couple months, and then I would take like Bart out to meet with my brother and go to the studio and stuff like that. It was like the first summer I had moved to my mom's. Then I moved in with my brother, and I was there for a few years. Then I spent a semester or two at Academy of Art. That's when I started, just becoming a Bay Area kid, but Berkeley was always like where I came back to. My brother stayed, so I always came back there, so yeah.
Okay. I want to touch on a little bit on just like you said, you went to the Academy of Arts, right? Mm-hmm. Like, when did you know or realize that you were a creative person?
I started realizing it probably when I was really like a kid, just growing up like around the house, just stuff I was interested in. I was always interested in like different movies, or I was always digging through my parents' CDs. Plus, my dad always played good music, so I started really realizing it probably around high school. Just when I started noticing how like eclectic my movie taste was and my music taste was, like, it was, I started almost feeling like I was reminiscent of characters I seen in movies low key. I was like, dang, maybe I'm kind of getting into and really like following the passion of doing music. Like around high school, I started noticing this stuff.
What kind of music was your dad listening to?
Pops was listening to everything. Recently, actually, I just been going through a bunch of stuff. He was listening to a lot of Goody Mob, Outcasts, Pac. He played Scarface, Hove. I mean, it was just like a good time for hip hop in the 90s. I was just listening to some Eric Sermon not so long ago, like a couple days ago, and I was like, dang, I haven't heard this in a minute. Yeah. So I was bumping EPMD. I bumped almost all West Coast, Warren G, Snoop, Nate Dogg, Mac 10, Ice Cube. I was listening to some Eazy-E earlier. Like, man, my pops really played a lot of Outcasts. I might have said Outcasts already, but he played a lot of like.
I mean, I love Outcasts. Aquemini, man.
Yeah,
that
Aquemini
album
was great.
That
Aquemini
album
was a great
the
album.
Sounds.
That I think my favorite one was AT-Aliens. AT-Aliens is probably my personal favorite. That just hit me the most. You know what I mean? That was probably when I just kept. I love the cover art for that one too. Yeah, it was so cartoon like.
Yeah, it was different.
Crazy.
I mean, you can truly tell that they express themselves like throughout every aspect of that album. Like you said, from the cover art to the lyrics to the sounds. That's one of the things that I really did enjoy about Outkast. Mm-hmm. Mine has to be, for me, is Aquemini. And I didn't really get that appreciation until I moved to Atlanta. Like, I liked the album.
Yeah, I feel that.
And then through college, when I like saw marching bands and stuff like that, I was like, okay, like it resonated with me. Like, okay, I get where they got this, and I get why they have these horns in, why it's so open.
Totally.
You know what I'm saying?
Totally.
It was definitely an album where you could see not even just a progression from the group, but really a group or a duo that was really themselves, and that came across with everything that you heard from Big Boy when he was rapping, and then Andre, he just had another way of just approaching the beat. every time, but he's always like, I'm going to drop some gems in every time.
Yeah.
But particularly with that, like, I think of Criminal a lot. Like, just all the songs on there is just like another facet of it. It's like people from the barbershop talk to, oh, I heard you on the street. Okay, we trying to hustle this album. How other people may receive it. Like, they kind of touched on everything with that.
Word. Pops was playing a lot of music like that had that type of impact. So that's what I was like. I was just always listening. He was him and my mom was always playing something dope. I had to give them credit. They had great music taste.
So would you say they were the biggest musical like influences of like the sounds that you like now?
Probably, honestly, what my mom and dad played for me, or what they had, or what I
what I
exposed to. Like, yeah, they were big, and then I started making my own. Like, I started sort of curating my own taste out of that. You know what I'm saying? But they were definitely like the first people I got music and shit from was them. So
one of the things I did want to go back to is your first, I guess, official album was hella good, right?
I would consider that like my first. When I would call that like my official. Like my professional, like when I felt like I was at the point where I was competing, like in the game, and my projects were being considered amongst like my peers and stuff like that. So yeah, I would call it like that.
And for that, like, because to me, all three of your albums have a different feel.
Yeah.
Which I appreciate. I like to see growth. I like to see evolution too, as well. That reminds me of that line. I'm a pigeon. But yeah, I remember that's what made me think of that. But I just like that elevation. Do you feel like there has been a growth from that project till now? And what,
definitely,
like, where do you feel that growth has been for you?
I definitely feel like there's been a growth. I think that much of that growth has just come from me being comfortable in myself.
Gotcha.
I think Real Person is like you know, me finally like finding that, understanding, I guess, my place as an artist and like how that relates to who I am, and just intertwining the two. Is I've been doing it for a long time. I've been like writing raps and rapping, making music, and trying to figure out my lane and stuff for some years now. So I would say really the most, you know, the maturation really came intrinsically, like just me knowing myself and me just accepting things about my artistry and myself and being like, yo, this is it, owning it, and just putting stuff out there, you know what I mean? So that's probably been the biggest thing. Humility or honesty or something like that. Something like that.
Self-discovery too.
Yeah, self-discovery,
and that process. And that is something that I did want to, that I did notice in Real Person. But before we get to Real Person, I want to touch on 1993 because I felt like Hella Good was, if we're putting all three albums in an age group, like that was the adolescence. Hella Good was that adolescence period where I felt like 1993 was like that coming of age that on the precipice of that discovery where you're asking the questions of, you know, like really analyzing it and saying, you know, what am I trying to do? What is the goal here? So that, like, for me, that album is the first album that I heard from you was 1993. And then when I got to Kale in August 28th, I was like, oh shit. All right. Yeah. I was like, okay.
I feel you.
I was like, we
literally
here.
the song August 28th is you put me onto that. Like that was the first song when I heard from you, and I was like, he's like, no, trust me, I know you're gonna like this. And I was like, all right, cool. I heard the beat, it started. I'm like, okay, I get it. And then as soon as it drops, like, oh, he's about to get in. Like, it had that feel already. Like, and I think what also comes across a lot in your music is your presence. Like your presence, I feel like even started to shift a little bit more as like the albums progressed. It's like I'm more into myself, and that comes along a lot with experience and maturity. And I think that's what you were touching on, you know, as well. Is just like, okay, I'm at this point in my life. I'm still kind of young. I'm experiencing things. All this is crazy to me. Next point is like, oh, I got a little bit of time to reflect, look back.
Right.
And here it's like, okay, where are we at now? Like, that's,
it's interesting to hear both perspectives on the project because I have my own as well. Like, I oftentimes I just be like, this is this, and people only like it like because you know, it's usually as an artist, I'm always the hardest critic on everything I do. But it's funny because 1993. Like you said, they are all completely different, but I appreciate them for like I like Hella Good. I play Hella Good, and I really love it, and it's easy to sit and play many of the tracks in succession, just let it run. Yeah. And then when I play 1993, I definitely hear the evolution. Like that is where I see y'all have to forgive me. I talk about Caleborate in third person, like Because it's not like that's the whole Real Person joint. It's like I'm still Caleb, but I also like that's my artist entity, and both are super tied together. But I'll listen to 1993 and I'll say I see a lot of growth on this. This is where I see Caleborate, like showing me, yo, I'm not just gonna just rap, bro. I want to try, I want to sing, I want to do this, I want to do that, and I can still tell my story within doing all that. And then Real Person to me is like a nice mesh of the two, and I see maturation on both ends. Like the bars and the lyricism on Real Person, I think, are stepped up in comparison to Hella Good, which was a more bars heavy project, I would say, than 1993. But the melodies and stuff that were in 1993 still find their way into Real Person, and they still do things like, add to the hook on Soul, or give you a song like Down or like Fine. So like I saw it as like that's why I continue to say it's really a lot of maturation, because it was sort of just knowing when to say when, you know what I mean? When it's too much and when it's too little. But I appreciate all three for what they are, bro, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
And like I said, that does remind me as well, is like you said, in Hella Good, it's definitely bar heavy. A lot, more complicated, dense bars. And then as you get into 93, like you said, there is more melody. It's more conceptual for me in trying to convey a message, where I felt like Hella Good was like basically saying, y'all motherfuckers, I'm here.
Right,
like,
right.
If y'all don't realize the bars that I'm spent right now, where that gave you that outlet for that. That's what it seemed like. And then 1993 was like, okay, I have something to say now.
Right.
Y'all know what I can do. Now let me say I have a message that I'm trying to figure out. And that's what, to me, it felt like you were trying to figure things out. And then there was a humbleness and an appreciation, but still hunger to do more. Is that, and I think that's why I feel like a lot of the generation gravitated to 1993.
Definitely.
Because in this time, and it's something that I've talked with another member on the Say Well podcast, Benjamin, about like the idea of our society and our generation and the generation after us. They had this mentality. Our parents are telling us, go to college, you get a good job, and life will be good. Well, our generation went to college, graduated, left, and there ain't no those good jobs there.
Yeah, it's like it's not the end of the rainbow.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
So like that, like I felt like 1993 touched on that, and it's like where like if you were in that, or you're in that period, or you're doing that, having those issues, like, damn, man, I went through all this shit. Yeah. and I'm expecting to get paid and get a good job and be able to, and I'm not there. That frustration, like, I felt like that was captured on there. Is that something that you were feeling during the process? I mean,
something that comes with, I think that's the interesting thing that you brought up. I think I was talking to a friend about how we're gonna be a different generation in terms of when we tell our kids, like, grow up, I'm saving for college. Maybe I'm not saving for college. Maybe I'm saving for you to start a business.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Maybe I don't know. Who knows? I mean, LaMelo Ball's playing pro ball right now. You know what I mean? Like
in Lithuania, yeah.
And he's gonna have kids one day and be like, man, you don't have to go to college at 18.
He's like, I didn't even finish high school.
And there's that, and then it's coupled with like right now. I think a lot of people we as like society, as a nation and stuff, are coming into just, I don't know what we're going to call it, but it's a different time. I can feel it.
We're the do-it-yourself generation.
We're definitely DIY. But there's also a part of, there's some awareness and like enlightening and stuff that's going on these phones have allowed like information to spread so fast. One good that comes out of that is that information spreads really fast. People can get hip to stuff really quick and come out of the, darkness. And I think in that process, okay, I'm tying everything together. Stay with me because like I talk a lot. But in that same process, I'm making 1993 and 2016, 2015, 16, whatever, writing and recording those songs, actually living the college experience and feeling like this isn't for me. At like same token as LaMelo Ball right now is playing pro ball. Like he's actually living a moment that's going to change the next generation. So we're all like going through that. And so I think that my progression from 93 to Real Person, it also tells the story of what's happening like at the time, like in the world, like figuring out I don't have to go to college to be considered successful, or I don't have to, I can run my own business. I can be Big Baller Brand. I can, like, this is all stuff that's happening at the same time. plus real, you know what I'm saying, plus realizations of myself, my family, just dispelling a whole bunch of stuff. So I think that it's like this beautiful struggle right now that came with that project, and also just came with the timing and where we at, like, as a country and stuff. And that's black men too. We can go, that's a long conversation as well. So we changed it. Black men are like ever growing right now. You know what I'm saying? Doing a lot of good stuff right now. So it's good. But long-winded. No. We
appreciate that. But that was one of the things that I felt like. I felt that that's why I gravitated and it resonated with people so strongly. Because just like I knew, that's how I knew August 28th would resonate. Like, because I was like, yeah, you gonna feel that, because that's like one of the great things about music is it gives off emotions.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And people can feel it and pick up off that if you really put your heart into it. Like, I think that is translated through music.
And it transcends time too. One of the things that I know about certain albums, I can remember where I was at in my life when I was listening to this. I can tell you the street I was on, what I was doing, where I was going, because it was either, if it's my riding music, my driving music, for whatever. It's, and that paints, I think, a lot of it for people too. So even like, for example, when you're growing up, you're talking about the music that your parents played. Right. I'm sure there's just certain memories that just trigger. Course, you think of something like, oh yeah, that was when I heard that Goody Mob song. It was one of my cousins. Like, yeah, just like that.
Definitely not. And I think that's making music to have that effect, for music to be that memorable, is something that we should all, to do anything, you should all strive for. Everybody should all strive for. Doing something that's like, man, I'll never forget the day, blah, 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 because that means something was just great and special and relevant and well thought out, executed properly. And it's like, shit, that's all I try to do with the music, just try to.
But you have to be daring enough to go for it, though, too.
Facts.
Because it reminds me, I was just watching Troy the other day, and that scene with the little boy going in the room, I wouldn't fight that big guy, and then Achilles goes, that's why they will not remember your name.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you have to be daring enough to say, it is going to be an obstacle. It is, like, a lot of people might have saw, the concept of 1993 and be like, it's too controversial, or it can be too controversial. It's not what society wants to hear.
Right.
Because it doesn't go with what society is telling us. Go to college, get a good job, do that, be consumers. You know what I'm saying? Like, that speaks against it in some form. So, like, to be daring enough to still be able to,
of course,
to do that.
I always wanted to do that. Just be daring and just, you know what I'm saying? Like, just speak my mind and do what I always want. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just do my thing.
And just going off of that, is that what success looks like to you? Like, how do you measure that personally?
I for sure would say that that's success. Like, being able to just stick with your vision and just be like, this is what's important to me, and I don't have to bend, you know what I mean, to make money. I don't have to do whatever, sound like whatever, dress like whatever, anything. I can do my thing. Like, the greats always are like that. You know what I mean? Solange is like that. Like, Hov is like that. Yeah. People that can just do what the Hov decides, we shooting a video. The song ain't even in the video. And it's the music video. I feel like he did that for one of his songs off 444. Yeah. The song is in there for like 40 seconds. And you're like, this is just a mini movie, bro. Like, just call it a mini movie or something. But you do what you want when you pop in, and you know what I'm saying, when you have, like, laid down that foundation. So, like, when I do anything musically, I'm always like, yo, what can I do to just make sure that, like, it's, like, I just have to stay, like, me and just be classic. Like, just always be, like, don't sacrifice nothing for no clown shit or no fake shit. Like, always just stay real, because once you do that, like, you just do your thing forever, and it's like you free other people to do their thing. Like, it's a beautiful thing of being an artist. Like, you just gotta stay true, stay down.
Yeah. That reminds me of what Black said on his album. He's like, I'm not gonna do that, because once I do that, I'm stuck. Yeah. I'm stuck doing it because that's what y'all want.
Exactly.
Like, instead of doing what I want to do, that's me. Like, he's like, I'm not doing this so that people associate me with this. I want them to know me for me. Right. And I feel like I don't know you, but you feel like you get to know you more as each album you listen to. Like, you feel like you're getting more personal with you, and especially when you get to Real Person. I feel like that was a real personal album. But before we get to Real Person, I wanted to just talk about a couple of tracks off of 1993. Okay. We kind of spoke about August 28th, but I wanted to talk about Gotta Know. Because on that one, I felt like the emotional tone in it, it felt heavy, but at the same time still pushing and motivating through.
Yeah, of course.
Which I think that's a hard balancing act to do. But just with the sound and the production, like, what was your thought process for that particular track? My
thought process behind writing that was, some of it comes from when I was growing up in South Sac, and then much of it, it's almost like a meshing of a lot of experiences in my life that are unique experiences to being black, like black male life, unique only experiences and memories that you have that shape you, and like, it's like certain things you either see or experience or do that make certain parts about your personality, your character traits, like ironclad. They never change after that day. Or they never change after you see that, or after you've witnessed that of a friend, or it's never changed after that. You like, that's it. I don't know if I'll ever trust people like that no more. I don't know if I don't know. Everybody has their own little moments. But that song for me was something where I wanted to paint the picture of, and that's where the end, that's where I have that hook that you won't be, that grim darkness picture of being like, that real reality of like not getting out of the hood, or even, let's say it's not the hood, just being stuck in whatever you're like, there's different, I think, delineations or separate like types of black life. Yeah. But it's like it's a systematic like oppression that goes on for black people in the United States.
Regardless of what economic side you're at, there's a point where you have to face it.
Exactly. So it's like you can either be trapped in that or escape. I mean, it's really that simple. Whether it's in the projects, the hood, the suburbs, whatever it is, whatever margin you can be trapped in as a black person to not experience or to not see or to not be enlightened or not be able to put other people on or to not go out and do good, whatever that is, you could be trapped in that. Yeah. So that song was very hopeful, like you said, for me to be like I know I'm gonna get past all this stuff. I know I'm going to get past losing a friend. I know I'm going to get past my home situation being all messed up or not having money or being hungry some days. Like, I know I'm going to get past all this stuff and all this drama that goes on around me with my family, my friend circle, whatever. And I'm going to see, like, I'm going to live better days. Like, I know I'm going to, like, you know what I mean?
And that's why that's one of the tracks that really resonated with me, because that's what I go to for those situations when I'm like, especially with like the website, the podcast, and it's a lot of work to go into it, and then sometimes you don't get the support that you feel like you should or that you've given to others. That's why another reason I quote that line, the line about I've given everybody respect, I need that shit back. Like that frustration of like, man, I'm giving all y'all this shit and the little shit I'm asking for back.
Right.
Like, y'all can't even give that to me. But at the end of the day, I still know, fuck it, I'm going to make it regardless. Like, that's what I took away from that. Fact. And I think that's important, especially, like you said, for black men, because you're going to get to a point, you're going to get to situations where you feel like the whole world is against you.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
You feel like that, and you feel like man, you cannot make it out.
For sure.
But at the end of the day, you can. You just got to persevere and be consistent and stay working hard at the end of the day. Yeah.
It's like, I think it's so difficult to, like, it's funny the way when you grow up, your mom or whatever, grandparents used to say, you know, it's power in what you say, you got to speak stuff into existence, whatever. You really have to, like, you really got to. I mean, as anybody, but I say especially as a black man, you got to be like, yo, like, I'm going, like, you have to have the mindset, just like you can have the mindset of like, all right, let's say you're driving and you got a little bit of weed in the car. You don't have weed in the car. That's your mindset. It's like, I don't have weed in the car. There's no weed in the car. There's no, like, in my head, I don't have weed in the car. What are you talking? That's not weed. What are you talking about? Like, you have to have that same sense of like perseverance with like, I'm gonna make that. Like, there's no, I don't even know what I'm gonna make it. Like, there's no other choice. I don't know. Like, it just has to be that way because there's like so many like ways that shit could not work out for you. It's overwhelming. You gotta just be like.
It's very easy to be focused on the negative, particularly I feel like as black men in general, we tend to not address mental illness or just depression.
Word.
So the ways that we cope with that, they may be, you know, they manifest in different ways. Okay, you can invest into whatever is drugs, whatever your vice is. That's probably, I think that's probably universal for a lot of, black men, regardless of where they're living, suburbs.
Fact.
You know,
it's like
in other places too. Like
that scene in He Got Game, where what's the name was like, what's gonna take you out? Is it gonna be the women? Is it gonna be, you know what I'm saying, the drugs, money? What's it gonna be like? What's gonna take you out? You know what I'm saying? And it's like, then you say mental health, it's like we really battling like to stay like keep them ills off us, because it'd be like so easy sometimes to just give into a vice or find anything that make you be like, it ain't so bad. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
And pull other people there with you.
Facts. It'd be crazy like that. People be like,
and just ignore it altogether, because like you see it all the time. Hey, how you doing? And knowing that person is going through shit, and they just be like, I'm good. Like, instead of saying like, man, I'm really going through it. Like, I'm not even asking you for help, but I just here, let me vent, hear this out. Let me, like, bro, I'm going through like shit. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. I don't expect you to do nothing for it, but like, just sometimes having that ability to feel, to be able to feel the release of saying it, to somebody, and somebody like listening, exactly. But that's another problem that black men have, is we don't. That over masculinity. I'm not going to share my emotions, and that's something that we've touched on before.
I think musically, there's like an opportunity for us to, you know, get rid of some things that have been taboo. You know what I'm saying? You have a lot of artists coming out with it and just being original, and that's why I've always held this sort of like mentality of like, if you a black artist, like, and you're in front of the mic, like, you got to say something. Like, whatever you say, just say something, make it mean something, you know what I'm saying?
Make it real.
Make it real, because people need we need our voices, you know what I'm saying? Like, all of them. So you gotta say something. So like, that's why it's mad important to me that all artists that's like, it's cool even if you a thugged out rapper if you cry for real, because this nigga somewhere in the hood like, wanting to actually shed a tear but can't and don't know how to, you know what I mean? But shit, you can make that cool in the hood. Like, you make me look, I understand, bro. Niggas shed tears from time to time. You do that shit in private, but do your thing, you know what I mean? As opposed to us having sort of issues and everybody trying to be hard all the time, and just, it's like we too like powerful as people to be like that kind of bottled up. Yeah, that's how, you know,
it's not good for you. That energy has to go somewhere. Yeah, and it manifests in different ways, as Spencer said. Yeah. But I do want to also touch on another song off that album, 250 AM. Mm-hmm. I just like the vibe of that. It has like the movie Drive with Ryan Gosling. Like, to me, like, it feels like when I first heard that, like, I can picture scenes from that movie. Just that vibe that's in the production, and then the way you ride over it, I'm like, okay, like. Yeah, that should have been on that soundtrack, which was a good soundtrack, by the way. It was. Yeah, that was a dope soundtrack, by the way. And then I just liked how the aspect of that song too is at the end when you're talking about the gentrification, and the way that you talk about it. The way that you talk about it is so real. Like, the thing that I liked about it is, if you're not from the black community, or you're not from a community that has been gentrified or that is going through gentrification, that you don't have those conversations. Right. So you don't know what they're like. Right. You don't know that these are real conversations people are having. Like, and also that it's coming from a young group, like young men that realize, like, because they thinking that, you know, it's only old black people that are saying, oh, you're trying to take my building. No, us young cats are seeing it too. We realize and we're noticing it. We don't have the power to really do much about it, we feel like, but we noticing it. And I thought that was a real powerful moment in that cinematic feel of the song already.
No, it is.
And honestly, that just captures outside even just the Bay Area, that is what's going on probably every major city.
Yeah,
so people going to feel that one way or another.
Metropolitan areas, it's crazy. Shoot, the gentrification is going crazy right now. Like, like Spence said, it's probably happening in every major city. I'm pretty sure that it is.
At least to some extent.
To some extent, but the craziest part about it is, it's like, it's funny how, like, my parents or uncles or whatever would tell me, like, they had apartments or houses in certain areas. I'd be like, man, that must have been dope, because I have no idea what that would be like right now. Like, I don't know where I could move and be, like, centrally located around other friends. Like, what? Like, and then some family nearby? No, that's like that. I don't even know where that place would be. Like, I couldn't imagine it. Everybody is still, like, trying to get out their folks' house or... Man, like,
that's what I'm saying. Difference in generation, because the same thing. My mom, my grandmother, like, all of them talking about, like, yeah, we'd jump over our house, the fence, to go to cousin Nikki's house, and then we went down the street and Uncle Romy right there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I never experienced that. Like, I have no idea what that's like. I don't know what that's like, and I don't know anybody that does. Like, right. And especially in our generation, we're not in a position, or I don't know anybody that's in a position where they like, yeah, I'm buying this house. Yeah. And my brother's going to buy the house down the street. My sister, she got the house around the block. Like, like you said, shoot, I'm at my mom's house. I'm going here,
Yeah, like,
or we sharing this 2-bedroom with 3 people. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we just trying to make it.
It's really like that. It's really just grind mode for like a lot of us in our 20s. Even it's funny, you'll see people who even seem successful on social media or something like that, and they still be grinding. You be like, damn, bro, what do niggas get paid around here? What do you do? Like, it's something interesting to think about and look at, man, because like we really are in an interesting just place. I mean, government wise, finance. I mean, everything is like in a weird place. They just legalized weed. Like, I feel like even that is, I don't know. Everything is weird right now, and it's just interesting.
And it's going to continue to change. But to see that change, the thing that I did think that was also great about the order of 1993 was just like I said about the 2:50 a.m. track. How the first line and the second. The following song to that is the first line is the shit is so real. After you were just talking about the gentrification, like that's what I'm saying. Like it felt like it bridged it together. Like you hear this conversation, you brought into this world of this scene of these guys having a conversation about gentrification, and then you have the line this shit's so real. So you realize, this is not just for cinematic effect. This is not just a movie.
Nah, it's just really
this shit is really happening.
Yeah.
Like get that picture and realize that's a real picture.
Word.
You know what I'm saying? I thought that was an interesting way to highlight that, but so subtly.
Yeah, I remember when I was making a project. Even when I made 2:50 a.m., I was just like, I need to make sure that I speak on what's going on, like in a serious manner, because it really is going on, and it's like to a lot of people, like a lot of younger maybe artists or even just the younger generation of kids were fucking with my music at the time based off Hella Good, whatever. So I was like, I really was trying to take it as a responsibility upon myself to have a serious conversation about what's going on out here, because it really is affecting a lot of people. Like gentrification is affecting a lot of people. It's affecting our culture. Yeah, it's affecting our culture like crazy. I mean, it's like phasing it out almost out here. You know what I mean? For the kids, even like it's just crazy how it's affecting our culture. So I really was like, yo, we need to, and I wanted that authentic conversation. I wanted that shit. Like I was like, it needs to just sound like for real. You know,
and that's what it felt like.
Right. Yeah.
It felt like I was like, these are the conversations that I've had when my partners met.
Yeah.
That
we just went out, and I was like, look, we're gonna do some stuff, and I'm gonna have the phone just on record, but we just gonna talk and eat, and it's just recording. You know what I'm saying? Right. And we just talking about anything, and there's people talking about personal. You know what I'm saying? Stuff.
Like, cut that out.
Yeah, we had to cut certain stuff out. Call people, yo, I'm gonna use this part. You okay with that? But like, I just wanted it to be like that, because that's art, bro. That's that shit. That's really that shit. When it be like legit like that, it lasts forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I wanted it to be like that on the project for sure.
I thought that project was well rounded. I thought the humor broke up the moments that were getting heavy, where you know sometimes you feel like, oh shit, this is getting too heavy. Like you got to get to that point where it's like you push it right to that border, and then it's like, all right, then the humor kicked in, and you're like, okay,
right.
So I thought it was a nice balance.
That also comes across a lot, I feel like, in your videos. I've seen that. There's like a kind of nice balance. Particularly, I feel like the best example is Game Over of that. I mean, it's literally going through the whole video. For those that haven't seen it, it's literally Caleborate. He starts off as almost a video game, like he's running a race. And as he's going through this race, there's just different people that are coming up to him in his life. Some are good, some are bad. Right. And it's just, as he's rapping about it, you're seeing these experiences, living through it, and just kind of going. And that, for me, just watching it visually, like tapped in. For me, it was very easy to tap into that. I feel like a lot of people our generation are like, oh, arcade reference? Oh, we right here. And it's like, that is life. It is like that. Oh, your life goes down a little bit, and then something else happens. So
damn, I'm glad everybody. I always felt like that video. Like, I liked it, but you know how you like something, and then if you have people and they don't be as excited about it as you, and you be like, damn, maybe it's not that tight. Yeah, you be like, I mean, it's tight to me, but I don't, you know what I mean? But I thought it was really tight too.
No, it was a tight video though.
Yeah, I'm glad.
And really liked it. Do want to touch on that too. Is like you said, I think your videos do add a different element to it, because I feel the generation of music videos has died. Like, not I don't want to say died,
I know what
but
you
it has.
mean.
I remember like as my youth, like you would race home to watch videos. You know what I'm saying? Like that was everything shuts off. We got to see. There's a new video coming out. Busta got a.
Right.
Hype Williams is like.
Right.
Remember when you knew the names of video directors like that?
Yeah. Director X, Hype Williams.
Yeah.
Videos used
Little
to
C's,
be.
like, yeah.
You used to a video used to more than anything. It used to be like a different interpretation of the song.
Exactly.
It wasn't just like performance shots.
Exactly.
It used to be like.
It brought you into a different world.
It took you to the world, you know what I mean? So you wanted to see the song and listen. Sometimes I would watch the video, like, instead of just listening to the song, you know?
It'd be a better experience.
It would be a better experience, you know? So we're definitely of that generation. But that was a different time, too, when content was being served to us, like, once a week, you know what I mean? Or a few times a week versus, like, all day long.
Yeah, every second.
You know what I mean? Yeah. I get why dudes is doing videos where they just rapping, throw some effects, another one. Like, that's how you got to stay alive right now in this industry right now. But
I mean, we appreciate the time that you put into the videos because I mean, it comes through on this side.
I appreciate it. I'm such a big fan of music and shit, and just of my own stuff. Not in a cocky way, but like I really want to make sure what I put out is like. I'm so critical on myself. So when I sit back and I watch a video and I'll be like, yo, I like this. I think it's tight. It's ill for me because I'll be like, all right, as long as I like it, like I know a lot of people like me are going to like it. I know people going to get it. You know what I'm saying? Because, I mean, I'm not on no cocky shit, but I just feel like I've listened to and watched and shit enough in videos and judged enough to where I could be like, that shit's cool. You know what I mean? Yeah. And have something about it might be right. So.
It sounds like even partially when you're going through that, you in some ways you struggle with the quantity versus quality versus quantity. Yeah. Like it just comes back to that because if you're a perfectionist, the stuff that you like, you hold on to that. You say, oh, I'm going to put this out. But other people, they may put out 5 more videos in that same span of time, but it may be again like just like a man on the street shot. It's just like a front shot of them, performing as you said, versus it being like a story, something you can get into, something you want to go back to watch.
Man, that might be one of the biggest things that's going on between like our generation and then the kids after us, just because they grew up in such a content heavy like world during their teen years, and we grew up in a different like content delivery system. So I feel like a lot of even artists, just people, creators from those two different, I feel like the people that are like around our age or older than that generation are always like going between that like quantity, quality, like they're always going between that because the way that they have seen other artists do it and were coached into doing this stuff is like you get something ready, you get it nice, you do it, and you put it out, and then you market it and you push it and you do like that's the way stuff got given to us. Everything really, shit, food even, like they did burgers like that. They gave a burger a press roll out, like all right. 2 months from now, the burger coming out. All right, y'all, it's out. Flyers is everywhere. Commercials everywhere. All right, now we on to some new shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right.
Whereas the kids, like, you look at someone like Lil Pump, was born in 2000. It's like, man, it was probably in the generation where Wayne was dropping tapes like bam, bam, bam. And
that's right.
artists would drop mixtapes left and right and featuring on everything. And he's probably like, bro, like,
that's how I got to do it.
How can I wait? Like, I got to bottle all this stuff up now. So... We just two different generations out of that shit.
But you also see, I want to say like a changing, because think about it with Rihanna. Rihanna was putting out albums like year. Every year she had an album coming out because it was like summertime. She had the summertime hit, the album dropped, and it was like every year, and then she stopped. She did like 2 years in between the album. She went more to the old, like more of the way that we were giving it. It's like, I'm going to really work on something hard for a long time and I'm going to give it out. Not to say that she wasn't working on it hard before, but I feel putting more time into the project besides just working hard and getting something out.
Sometimes
I see sometimes people blending, like you said.
Sometimes I think people hit a certain status level too where they just be like, I can do this shit out, like Frank, who just be like, okay, I dropped the album, bye, like see y'all when I see y'all, and everybody be like, damn, that's it? Because his shit just be so good. Like, he just decide when he drop. He decide when it's important to see Frank, you know? But
that's right.
Some artists get that big. I'm trying to be that big. I'm trying to be like Kanye. Like, all right, I'm going to drop some shit 5 years from now, you know? Whatever type shit. But
I want to, let's start talking about a real person, because that's your latest project. And, again, I think that was a real personal project, it felt like to me. And one of the things that I took away from it, the overarching theme is perspective. is what I took from it, of having different perspectives and trying to apply that in different situations. And one of the perspectives that I saw as a running theme, and that I also saw it somewhat bleed from 1993 into this one, is that balancing act of, I call it the Michael Jordan, quote unquote, Kobe syndrome of you're driven so much by your drive, your passion, or like for you, music. For me, getting this website and the podcast going, like going so hard at one thing that it's all your focus, and that you tend to put blinders on and you miss other things. But in order to get to there, that's how you have to approach it. Right. Like Jordan would not have been Jordan if he wasn't selfish, saying, "Yo, I don't care what y'all think. This is how I got to do it. I'm gonna be in the gym. I'm gonna push y'all hard, like how hard he was on his teammates. The same thing with Kobe, where he's like, I remember seeing that thing on ESPN where it was Jay Williams coming into the NBA, and Jay Williams went in there, I guess an hour before the game, and was like, I'm shooting, and he was like, that should be good enough. And Kobe was in there at the same time, and then Kobe kept on shooting, and and they were going back and forth, basically practicing at the same time. And Jay Williams was like, I'm tired, and he left, and Kobe stayed out there. And then he had a conversation with Kobe later saying, he's like, well, how do you stay that long? He's like, I stayed out there that long because I knew you were there. Like, he was like, basically saying, I don't care how I wanted to make sure you knew that however hard you're going to work, I'm going to work even harder. Right. And he was like, Jay Williams took that, was like, he's already there. Yeah. I'm a rookie. He's there. Yeah. And I'm trying to get there. And he still has that mentality like that. But with that comes blocking out other people. And I saw that kind of. Of course.
That's something that's going to probably go through and plague my whole career if I continue, to do music as feverishly as I do. But when you love something, you love it, though. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, you just gonna do it. Like, I don't know what it is about music, but I'm just gonna do it. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I lose friends sometimes, whatever, like relationship. But at the end of the day, like, I love music so much, and it's like I also feel a responsibility to music and to artistry and to the people who listen to my music. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I'm cool. Like, like Kobe in that situation, I'm sure his mindset is like, bro, I'm cool. I could shoot all day. Like, I'll shoot till tomorrow.
He's like, I don't care. I don't need friends. This basketball really and the game is I'm happy if that's all I'm left with.
Right, like that's it.
I'm okay because I know I'm going to be the greatest I can be at it.
That's it. Like I said, I'm just shooting. Like, I'm just going to shoot until, like, I don't even know what, like, bruh, anybody else might be thinking, I got to get home or dinner, da-da-da. And Kobe's like, man, look, I'm in the league. I got enough money not to have to worry about this kind of stuff. All I'm doing is balling. That's it, every day, all day. Like, and if you love it like that much, hopefully it loves you back and gives you the type of career Kobe had. You know what I mean? But you definitely got to love it that much and put that sort of focus into it to even just have that shot. There's a lot of guys, you look at guys like, I'm sure a guy like Chris Paul has incredible work ethic. You know what I mean? He seems to keep his game on point every year. His numbers look great. He looks like he's always in great shape. He doesn't seem to slow down much. And he still hasn't gotten a ring. You know what I mean? So it's like,
look at Carmelo.
That's what I'm saying. You look at great, man. The mailman.
Charles Barkley, like, man,
great.
You know it well.
and they most definitely had championship ability, talent. You know what I mean? And so it's like, if them guys could go that hard and be that good or whatever and still not get a ring, what makes you think that you can skate by? You know what I mean? Like, bro, you really have to go like Kobe just to get a ring, damn near. And if you want to be Kobe, you really got to go crazy to get 5 rings. Like, so, it's just knowing what you got to do. And, like, if you want to do it, do it. You know what I mean? Sometimes I feel like that with music. Like, man, all right. I've written all day, like, until the song is done. And it may affect friendships or whatever. But at the end of the day, too, the beautiful thing about music, just like with Kobe playing basketball, is you'll see it. When you see his game, you'll be like, okay, I get it. And I understand that you really love hoop like this much and it means something to you. Like, I rock with you doing your thing and it's beautiful to watch, And it's like when my music continues to get better and better and better, like one day somebody in Kendrick's family listened to him and was like, okay, like, okay, Kenny, like, do your thing. You don't have to call me back because I see what you're doing over here. This is fucking crazy. Like, all right, do your thing. So if you just keep working to get to that point, then you can feed your family and shit. Then you be like, this is why I'm not calling you. Sent you the bag. Like, you know what I mean? So.
And even more so than I say sports, the fact with music is it does have that longevity that will outlast you.
Of course.
And that goes on to your kids, your next generation, however long, versus, okay, they had that great practice or whatever, but what we have is something that we can take with us for the rest of our life. It's a whole different, kind of, and again, that other experience is tied into it. Right. So it's like, I was watching the game. Oh, and that's why I remember his song came on, man. That was such a good day for me. And just kind of going back to what we were saying before, it's like, there's that timeless factor to music that sports necessarily doesn't have. I mean, because we can always talk about eras. We can talk about the Jordan era of sports.
Magic era.
Yeah, and there's whole different eras, and it's like you wouldn't necessarily understand if you weren't there at the time. Right. Music can transcend that, I feel like.
Yeah, and that's all facts. And as beautiful as that is, the thing that gets you is that while it's a beautiful interest and while your reasoning for being that passionate about it is beautiful, like, what necessarily makes your interest more important than other people's time or what, you know what I mean? Like, so what you want to do, rap, bro? I want to do this, but I'm not doing it, so I'm calling you, like, you know what I mean? So that's the thing where you hit that wall where you like, yeah, that's right. Granted, while what I'm doing is great and I applaud, like, you doing music, stay with it, like, what makes you so special, bro? People they call their fucking phone. They like, nigga, you ain't exempt, So that's the dichotomy where you just be like, stuck in between. Am I doing too much? Am I doing too little? You know what I'm saying? Do I just need to put the blinders on and go Drake mode with the blinds closed? Like, what do I have to do? But I don't know. I've been trying to find that balance. Hopefully, I just get that bag. Get that bag.
That will help that balance come along a little bit easier.
Help balance,
I want to, with Real Person too, I noticed that, to me, it highlighted your storytelling abilities. And for me, like, that's where I gravitate. That's why Nas, Rakim, like, those, like, the storytellers are, like, what I really gravitate to. And I felt like in this, you really encompass a lot of different stories. And it seems like they were coming from, again, the overarching thing of perspectives. It felt like they came from a lot of different perspectives. How do you go about choosing which perspective you want to go or attack a song from?
The beat does a lot of the work. You know what I mean? When you listen to the beat, you get to hear the type of story that you need to tell over it. But also too, man, my life, like I said, I've been writing and rapping for so long that I've sort of learned how to translate my life into songs or things that, that I experience or whatever. So, I'll meet people or go through things or whatever, anything, and it's just like, yo, I have to put this on wax. Like, I have to talk about this, you know what I mean? And I have to say it in a way that's gonna be understood. I have to tell the story, and I just have to speak for myself, for this person, for that person. So I really just listen to the beat, and whatever the beat is asking me to say, like, you know what I'm saying? I try to go into that and be mindful of the things that's going on around me,
Gotcha. How do you gauge how personal you're gonna make, because again, if it's, let's say you're giving from somebody else's perspective or somebody else's story, like, how do you determine the balance of course, I would assume you see if they're comfortable with it, of course, but still, maybe there's still also, maybe. That's it. But how do you determine that balance? Because, like, take to consideration Kendrick's Keisha song, like, that's so personal, but it really reflects with it versus Pharoah Monch's When the Gun's Drawn, like, him telling the story, but from the perspective of the bullet, like, that changed the whole dynamic of the song because he chose that perspective, and it made it that much more interesting. Like, how do you, for particular songs, especially on Real Person, the ones that, especially because a lot of them, it felt like they were from your perspectives, but then some of them felt like they could be from your perspective, but it is, again, somebody else's story.
Right. I guess I just allow the beat to let me, go into that, to choose how I want to tell the story or which perspective. The beat does a lot, the beat does a lot, and you can just kind of feel what a song is supposed to be. Sometimes I write and, I don't know, you could just listen to a song, listen to your verse back or recite it back to yourself and be like, this is ill or nah, it's not. A lot of times you just when I'm writing, I just write what I feel. Like a lot of times I just try to unhinge. You know what I'm saying? You just be like, all right, look, don't think about all that right now. Just write. Just let it go because it's literally just me and the beat right now. Nobody even knows this exists. Then I'll go through and I'll be like, okay, is it a little too personal? Is this gross? Is this inappropriate? Whatever. You have to do that. And then around that time, like now, because I've been writing so long, now I have a system. It's crazy. I'll write what I feel. Then I'll go back and I'll be like, okay, where are we going with this? What's the visual? What am I seeing? Okay, cool. Now, how we make, is this dope? Are there some bars that could be improved? Is there some weak language anywhere where you just like using at or but or and? It's a whole different system, And then, I get down to it and keep rapping it over and over until I hear it. You can just hear when a verse is cold, it's cold. You just know when some shit is cold. So I'll be rapping and I'll be like, this shit ain't cold yet. It's alright, but it ain't like, yo, pause, that shit was cold. And that's how I try to make everything. So I let the beat tell me that, and then I just try to, tell myself, yo, make that shit cold, man. Make it the illest as possible.
So sometimes it sounds like you almost come up like the melody first. Like, I feel like I kind of got that sense with the song Down a little bit. Like, I feel like you heard the beat and you're like, oh, I know what this is going to sound when I do it. And then I know where my verse is going to come, but sometimes, is that how it goes?
Sometimes it's maybe it's flow, sometimes it's melody. But the most important thing, like, sometimes it is flow that hits me first or the melody that hits me first. Sometimes I'll get a hook. Sometimes I'll come up with something I think, yo, this is going to be the hook for the song. Turns out this is just how I want to start the verse. That's the first thing I heard when I heard the song, and this the first thing they need to hear when they hear the song, because that's how you get into this song. But it's really, maybe you'll start with the flow or maybe you'll start with a melody, but at the end of it, once I get down to listening to the verse back or seeing what I wrote back, it's really all about them words. Because them words, like, if you write dope words, if you write great lyrics, like, man, you could be writing great lyrics over a trash can, like, hitting the fucking pavement. You know what I'm saying?
People remember it.
If it's gas, though, people gonna be like, yo, that beat was kind of whatever. Somebody can make a new beat for this nigga, but those was bars. Like, I'm telling you, every time. And so, I've really placed more of an importance on what am I saying, who am I saying it for, because I've sort of realized that. I think at a certain point, as artists, when we start out, we try to make the song sound like how we want it to sound. Try to make it like, I want people to play this and like it and not want to turn it off. But you don't realize until a certain point that really what it is making people not want to turn it off is them words, like, more than anything, and making them come back to it. It's not just the beat. And it's like, that's one thing that I think we get tricked on sometimes, with just the music industry. They want you to have a banging beat and a repetitive hook and whatever, but it's really like, what's that song really saying? Like, what's it really about, and how is it really connecting with people?
Yeah, people want it to resonate with them.
Exactly.
They want to feel it, even if they don't get what they're feeling. Because sometimes people will hear songs that they like and they don't even
you don't know why you like it, right?
They like it.
But it's that feeling that make you want to go back and hit replay on that joint, or just play it when you get in the car. It's that feeling like, oh, something is in this song. I like that.
And I feel like Real Person captured a lot of that because, again, like the other thing, just like the title says, it shows. To me, this album, from an artist's perspective, like, we go through the struggles of, that balancing act of being focused, trying to make our music, but also still having those personal connections, dealing with just the fact that it made me think of when Kanye was going through his mental health issues. And, like, the rhetoric around Kanye about that time was so insensitive just for a person. Like, it doesn't matter who it is. I don't care if it's Joe Blow down the street. Like, if somebody's having some mental issues, like,
there'd be a little more empathy for that person.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, but the fact that he was a star, people feel that disconnect, or that a celebrity, that, like, they're not real people. Like, at the end of the day, like you said, like, we real people. Like, I'm a real person. I have feelings. Rain, shine, any time of the day, like, anywhere, any time of the day, I'm a real person. Like, I have these feelings. I have, good thoughts, bad thoughts, all of these extremes, like. And I felt like it was really captured on this album. I agree. I think more over than just as an artist. I think sometimes I listen to that album and I think that it's really special and transformative for, like, all people, not just black men or just for artists, but just for people, because it's like
you get these things built up inside your head of what people are, these like different archetypes of people. You see them on TV or you hear about them in stories, whatever. And like sometimes you forget, like everyone has a reason, like everyone has their own shoes, their own experiences, they're from somewhere, like something, whatever. Like we are all like, and we're not all like, oh, we're all one, the same, da, da, da. But honestly, at the end of the day, we kind of like are. Like everybody has things that tick them off, or things they're insecure about, or confident about, or things they're afraid to talk about or admit, whatever. And it's like, that's one thing that I really like about that project is I see the different amounts of people who relate to it. And it's like, that's good because I want people to like really stop being maybe so judgmental or being so like, I really don't like that people are judgmental. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like, they don't ever stop to think about where that person was when that person did what they did, or why that happened to that person, or, you know, so like the whole real person movement with the project, and even the track Real Person and the hook is like, yo, dog, when it's cold, I'm cold. When it's hot, I'm hot. Like, no matter who you, even if you're like a super, super big celebrity, famous person, like you still a person, you still human, like you still get hungry.
Yeah, you're not immune to the human. It's a human experiences.
Right. And
you're going to get angry. You're going to get sad. Somebody in your life's going to die.
Right.
Like, you're going to go through those emotions and feelings.
If you're the celebrity person, to also remember the vice versa about the other person. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's deep, man. It's just kind of deep because it's like, everybody just needs to have that understanding on that level. You feel me? Like, look, I'm not saying, you know, people can't feel how they feel or say what they want to say, whatever, but just understand, like, people are still people, they're humans. Like, don't try to put yourself above or disregard somebody else's feelings or not understand why somebody's the way they is. Like, if people just take a second to, like, try to understand or just ask that question, you know what I mean?
Yeah, to
like,
take that one. We talked about it on a couple of podcasts ago about the Jay-Z 444 Footnotes. It's basically about that idea of like ask those extra questions. Like you can take one scenario of so-and-so doing this and it can look one way from one perspective, like he's the villain, or from another perspective, like he's the hero. Right. But if you don't get the details, 9 times out of 10, you'll find out most everything lies in the gray. Like most everything lies in the gray. Like, yeah, he did something that's fucked up, but he had a good reason, or what he thought was a good reason. It doesn't make it a good reason, but you're more likely to understand it because you understood why. Because nobody just does things just randomly. Like there's always a reason why somebody did it. You might not understand the why, but that doesn't make it less valid. And I think, like you said, I think that was really captured on this project.
Thank you.
Was that hard for you to feel like to capture that tone on an album? Because I can see that it can be, or it could come off of being so heavy and so dense. But I don't feel that in the album. I do feel like it's a more introspective album. I do feel it's a little heavier than 1993, and definitely a lot heavier than Hella Good. Definitely. But it's not to the point where it's so heavy where it's like,
totally.
Like,
totally. It's not a drain.
Like, yeah,
it's
like
not
where I'm like, I only can listen to this once.
Right. No, I know what you mean.
Like, no, you can still go back to it often. Yeah. Very often, because it doesn't bring you down, but it does open your eyes, I would say, in a way. Yeah,
that was something that thank you, by the way. And that was something that I consciously, like when I was making it, you know, one thing that I just always ask myself when I'm making anything, it's just how does it feel, man? You know, you just let records play, or even when you do anything, even if you're a writer or director or whatever. I was watching this YouTube video, and this guy was saying, like, movies have an energy, like they have a flow, and when a movie stops following a flow or energy, it's like, what the fuck am I watching? You know what I mean? Like, what is this shit? And so, music being the thing that I'm most passionate in, and I just listen to it all the time, and that's just my life, you know what I'm saying? So I always try to listen to my songs, then albums, and one of the biggest things is being able to be like, that's whack. You know what I mean? To be able to be like, okay, I'm not going to let this just keep playing and act like I don't hear it. I think this is kind of whack. Pause. What do you guys think? Anybody else think this is fucking whack? Like that ad-lib or something like that? Is that shit corny? You know what I mean? Just because it's true, because that's who you're making it for, the people. It's like it's like a drug or something like that. People are sick and you're making like medicine for them. It's like, yo, does anybody else feel a little fucking tingle in their fingers right now? Because my fingers are tingling. And if you're the person that made the medicine, be like humble enough or whatever to be like, let's just get this shit right. I don't care if I fucked up a few times. Like, let's get it right. Like, let's make this music, like, special, you know? So, like, I give myself much of the credit as the writer or the person who gets a lot of the ideas and shit started and goes into the studio and lays the stuff down. But ultimately, like, I play shit for my team. I play shit for Nick. I play shit in the car with shorties. Like, I play shit with my family. Like, I just be like, how's it rocking? Because if it tests well, if it rocks well, it's ready to go, you know? And it's just really just putting it out there in the world and just being like, what is it? Is this shit whack or not? You know, that's how I be, like, real about it.
You feel like that's a problem nowadays, with particularly in rap, that there's maybe too many yes men around certain people or something like that, and
I think
so they're not getting the I let my cousin hear this, I let my friend hear this, I let the girl I'm seeing hear, like,
totally. And then people get this idea, like, and it comes back to this real person thing. Sometimes that people get this idea they have to be this thing, or I have to make, you know, it's got to sound like this, and it's like, truthfully, if you just play some shit and really ask people, bro, like, what do you really think? You might get something real valuable out of that. You might get the answer you need, or you might just get something to think about, at least. Even, like, I've seen people play music for somebody, and then the person be like, well, personally, I thought this part was it, and then they get offended, and you know what you're talking about. You don't even know music like that. And it's like, look, bro, I was just telling you what I thought. Like, you know what I'm saying?
It's my opinion.
It's my opinion.
Yeah, I'm not saying it. And like you said, don't ask the question if you're not ready for whatever the answer is going to be.
And I think some artists, they are maybe not confident enough to ask the question or whatever. And so, like, my thing about Real Person was being, like, admitting, okay, I may have been that artist at times, not willing to ask that question. Not, you know, that might have been me. I'm admitting that. Here it is on the table. I may have been that person, or I may have been that friend or whatever that didn't put my shit on the table. Here's me admitting it, like, now what can I fix from here? Now where can I go from here? And, like, trying to get the best product. I'm always like that about much of the shit that I do. But primarily with music, if I play some shit and I think it's whack, I'll be like, pause. Anybody listen to that shit was whack?
But that speaks to the fact that you're receptive to it, though. Mm-hmm. That you're receptive to the criticism, positive or negative. I think that's important, though, because, again, and that's the other thing, though, too, that I think people giving criticism, just because somebody doesn't take your criticism, that doesn't mean that they didn't hear you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Because it might be at the situation, yeah, what you said is valid, but I can't do it for this situation.
Right.
That doesn't mean that I won't keep it in mind. And if another situation comes up or another opportunity that might fit that, I'll keep that in mind.
Exactly.
But so just because I don't take what you said, that doesn't mean you should stop.
Right. No, people at times I think can get too sensitive. Like Dave Chappelle said, people get too sensitive. Look, if I ask for some advice, that means I'm not, you know what I mean? Look, tell me what the fuck you feel. And then I get to, the fairness of getting advice is like, you get to do what you want with it. You know what I'm saying? You take it. Okay, that's cool. Maybe I'll sit on it, bro. I'll just go home, listen to it, and be like, how do I feel about it? Honestly, though, I feel like this shit is too loud maybe it is, but fuck it, I like too loud. We rocking. You know what I'm saying? And thank you for your advice, bro, but I'm going to keep it like that. And that's cool. I've had songs work out like that, and I've had some things not work out like that. You be like, okay, maybe next time take it with a grain of salt, listen, see how other people react to it. Like, it's just life and growing, you know, learning experiences and shit. Yeah. But that's a big part to me of making good music, you know.
And I mean, like I said, I think it's important. And like I said on the top 10 albums, I thought this was a really good project. I think everybody should listen to it. It does have high replayability. It is going to make you think. It is going to make you feel something. And like I always say, with good music, you should feel something.
Agreed.
So I think that, again, I definitely say everybody check that album out. So I know you have the Soul remix with Big Crit.
Yeah.
That just came out, and if you haven't heard that, check that shit out. That shit was dope.
Yeah, he did his thing on that joint, man.
Yeah, and the song was already dope prior, and it had a good feel, had a good message. And then when I heard that you were going to have Big Crit on it, I was like, that makes sense, though. Because of if you're a Big Crit fan, you would understand how the tone of that song would fit Big Crit. So I thought he did a good job as well.
Yeah.
I think it blended well with you on the second verse as well.
No, I agreed. I think I really wanted, like, when the opportunity came to even have him on the song, because I have a partner who was friends with his manager and was like, yo, I'm going to pass this song along and see if we can make something happen. So when I even found that it was in the works, I was like, fingers crossed, like, that would be real dope. Yeah. And so when it came together, I mean, first off, he sounds great on the record. Yeah. Like, when I heard it, I'm always, like, nervous if you do a song with, like, somebody big. You just, you never know like what that verse is gonna be, and not to say like it could be bad. You just don't want that letdown. Like, this wasn't the verse I wanted from them. Like, even Kanye said it on the last call. He was like, I wanted a different Jay-Z. You know what I mean?
Like, I wanted the more introspective.
I wanted the introspective Jay-Z. Like, this is cool. It's hope. Like, I'm rocking with it, but this is not the one I wanted. Yeah. But when I heard that, I was like, this is the crit. This is it. Like, this is dope. The flow is nice. The content is nice. Like, I was always just like, when I heard, I was like, my nigga really came through. Okay, like, all right, like he really came. Because I'm not even that big. Like, yeah, it's a good look and everything, but it's not like, oh, we finna drop this, we finna be on the charts, you finna make bags off this, like, come with the hardest verse. The only motivation that I feel like that was really there was, like, I just want to make a great song. I just want to add to this song and make it dope. And he did. And, like, to this day, I'm still like, that's ill. Like, you got on the song, great verse, like, and the link up, like, the way, just where I'm at in my career, where Crit is at, what he's doing, his independent, like, wave, and it's a real good look, man. I'm still like, I can't wait to play that for my kids maybe one day or something. Be like, I told y'all I was a rapper.
I mean, but to me, it speaks to not only to you, but also to Big Crit. Like, the fact that Big Crit understands, and I've heard him say it before, that he doesn't just give, because he's Big Crit. Like, lyrically, people know what he can bring. So he's getting asked for verses all the time. Like, but he doesn't just give them out like candy. He's not just like, oh, here, like Oprah. You know, here's a verse. Here's a verse. You get a verse. No, he ain't out here like that. You know what I'm saying? So he keeps them, and he gives it out to. I heard him say in an interview, he gives it out to people that he thinks are good. Like if he fucks with you, he's like, all right. Word. And if it fits, he feels like he can add to it. And so that means, like, again, the production that you picked, the verse that you put on, he's like, I can ride with it. And so it speaks to your level of lyricism as well as his, that. You know, game recognized game.
Yeah, it's definitely a cool ass look. It'd be like, yeah, you know, hats off. Like, that was a cool look for that to happen on some hip hop shit. I be looking at my hip hop story like I watch other artists. I be like, oh shit, I got a little moment right there. That's a little moment for my career. So that shit was ill.
Yeah, that's dope. And then you also had the single that released, Sums Up, as well.
Yeah.
Hey, that was a dope verse though. That was a dope track, man.
Do y'all want to know? Not even a secret about that. It may not even be a secret at this point. That song is like 3 years old, man.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, that song is old.
It sounds fresh. It don't sound fresh.
Like, that song is a little old, man. It was like, it's funny. I was listening to that joint. I was like, man, like the game really just changed up because like. It's like, that is what I'm dropping, and people fucking with it now in 2018. I for sure recorded that when I was like, well, I think I originally wrote that when I was like 20 or 21. So it was like, it's crazy to see where the game is at, and like to see that I think you was making a song 4 years ago that you thought was gonna go, and it was like, it was cool. It got a lot of love. It got appreciated or whatever. But I think it's more appreciated right now. Like, I think it's more like where the game is at and where hip hop is at and what people want. Like, it's crazy just seeing how time affects like art and just, you know.
But that goes back to like what Spencer was saying, is like music is timeless, and if it's good. That's what I'm saying. Like,
that was catch you.
That was my first time hearing Sums Up, and I thought it sounds fresh. It sounds like it should have been released today. Like, it doesn't sound dated.
Deep. That's deep.
So, like I said, that's a dope project. So I know you got the tour dates coming.
Yeah.
So everybody out there, go check out those tour dates.
Man, look, everybody across the nation, we're going nationwide. We're doing 17 cities. So I think we doing LA, SAC. All the West Coast cities, where LA is
in the house. Yeah.
We're doing Berkeley on the 25th of February, I believe. But then we going like New York. We're doing Brooklyn. We're doing Illinois. We doing St. Petersburg, Florida. Man, we like, yo, go to my Instagram at Caleborate, CALEBORATE. Just go to my Instagram, look for the tour date flyer. If it's in a city near you, man, go to the link in my bio. Try to get a ticket, something. We're gonna turn it out. Man, I can't wait for them shows. They gonna be special.
Yeah, we're gonna be at that Berkeley one though. Yeah, we definitely gonna be at that Berkeley
special,
one.
Man.
We'll also have the tour date flyer on our Instagram as well as the TheSonicBreakdown.com. So definitely check those out, and we'll also have links to his page so you can go buy them tickets, because I know they're gonna go out quick. So you better get on there now, get your tickets, and get them reserved ahead of time, so you ain't got to worry about that.
Yeah, man, them shows is gonna be crazy. I can't wait to do them songs like live with that energy. People gonna be rapping them and shit. Woo, shit tight.
and now that I thought about it, like, this album is gonna be a good album to do live too, especially with just the feel of it. And that's one I do want to mention before we get out of here. 'Cause I know you got to go, but the production, the jazz influence that was on there, I thought was really, really special. And at a live performance, I think just the instrumentation and then the words on top of it, and then just the energy of the crowd.
I just want to do them shows. I just want to go up there with that music and
feel the people
and just rock with it. Cause man, if this shit continues to get bigger, like who knows when I'll be able to do shows like that routinely, consistently. But I definitely just want to go and just rock with the words. I want people to hear them same drums that they heard in the car and the headphones and get that same feeling and be like, damn, this was tight live. You know what I mean?
But get that energy from you, giving them the words instead of just hearing them.
Just hearing them, right. So we just there like fucking listening to the song, singing the song together, like really having that transference of energy. I really want to do that shit, man.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
So like I said, definitely check out the SonicBreakdown.com for those tour dates. Check out his Instagram. I know you're always working on projects. You have a particular concept or theme for your next project in mind that you feel like you could share?
I don't know if I have a theme for it just yet. I just know that I'm just continuously working on new music and good shit. And I already have everything just continues to sort of like follow where I'm at, where we at in the world, like just what needs to be said. I feel like what needs to be heard, and you know, I just keep trying to make great shit. Like that's really where I just been at. Like every time I just be writing on the go. Whenever I hear beats, I'm writing, like always just working on some shit. So I just think it'll start making sense as I start dropping little pieces here and there, you know. It'll start making sense.
My thing, I'm always interested in, and you touched on this earlier, in just how you approach a song. That's what I was asking about. Do you go from the melody wise? Because sometimes when I hear stuff too, I'm like, oh, this sounds. You kind of just know, as you said earlier, you just kind of know with things. So
yeah, definitely.
I guess going from this will make my last question. Is there anything that you see right now in the game, like, or maybe going back to the Big Crit, is there anyone in particular you'd like to be working with, either going forward or? You know, that either you have your fingers crossed or, you know.
Of course. Some people, it's like I want to work with them, but I also feel like I need to get my game up a little bit because, like I want to work with Kendrick, but I'm like, I don't know yet. You know what I mean? Like, I would want to, like, get my shit solidified to where, like, it would just, like, I feel like I'm almost to that level to be able to do a song with Brett right now. Like, almost, not there yet. But Kendrick, you know what I mean? Cole. I mean, the list, man, goes on and on. Like, I want to get with a lot of artists and really see, like, what I can bring out of them to keep it lit. Like, I want to sit down with Pharrell and be like, nah, nigga, like, I want you to make me some shit like this, play this nigga some of his shit, and be like, remember this beat? It's something like this. Like, nigga, I want some shit like this. So I know what you're doing right now on your 2018 shit. I feel you, but come over here and fuck with a 90s baby one time, you know? Same thing with, like, Ye. Like, I would love to get in the studio with Ye and be like, man, fuck all that. Where them other drums at? And it's Dylan drums. Nigga, bring that shit out.
Drums back.
I'll be like, look, I'll leave right now because if you're not talking if we're not talking about making nothing with this feel, if you're not trying to sample something, man, that's cool. I respect where your artistry is at right now. Call me when you down, like, because I'm trying to bring that flavor out of a lot of artists that I work with. But, I mean, really, I want to get a beat from Cole, like, big time. I really just want bruh to peep that produced by J. Cole and just give me the stems for that beat so I can make it sound legit. And then we can go from there. But I got a lot of artists that I would love to work with, man. I want to work with Young Thug. I feel like I want to make a song with him or either write a song or something. I want to work with a lot of artists, though. Shit crazy.
I just thought about, like, I would like to see you on a song with Boss.
Oh, yeah, me and Boss can make some ill shit.
I think.
He has a really nice voice, too, man. That shit would sound
just
nice.
The differences in your voices, I think would it'd make a real dope track. Yeah, depending on the production.
It would be real fly. I want to do some shit with Travis Scott too.
Okay.
This is random. I know I got a million artists that I want to do music with. Either write some stuff for or write like anything, man. Anything. People are so creative, and I just have so many ideas. And
oh, that's real.
Shit, crazy.
Before I do want to actually ask you about, because I know we talked about it a little bit in the beginning, that about you going to school for art and design. Do you ever anticipate of using that in, like, say, fashion or anything like that?
I use like everything I learn. I took a advertising class like as a minor it was my minor at Academy of Art when I was going there was advertising. So I took a course in that and I learned how to design in Photoshop and Illustrator, and I learned like kerning and things about like fonts and text and stuff like that. So I try to take something that I learned from everything. I took some film history courses. I've always been into movies, so I took some film history courses, got little tidbits from there, like learned different styles like Dogma and shit, like learned hella different styles and different directors and stuff. So I think like right now, like rapping is like the thing that I was always into, you know what I mean? As like from the age from whenever I can remember, but as I go out into the world and get exposed to other things, I find new interest. So I've always been one trying to incorporate those things with my rap because that's not going nowhere. But then two, trying to get good at other things to maybe branch out one day. And I do want to design. I do want to like make like men's fashion. I think there's like a different type of men's trouser that's necessary. As like, since we've evolved as men, I think men are more comfortable wearing different types of pants. I think we need a different type of trouser. And I want to make like a different type of trouser for men. I want to make different tops for men. There's just a bunch of ideas and shit that I be having. Like,
you're a creator.
You know, that's how I be with the
you're
music.
Just a creator at the end of the day. Like,
thank you, yeah.
You're not boxed into just being a musician or artist. You're a creator. You just see things you want to create.
Yeah, I think I'm trying to do that without going crazy.
Hey, there is that balance. That is true. We did a special podcast on Black Panther. Are you excited about that movie?
I'm definitely excited about it. Like, I don't know who I'm going to go see it with. I want to go see it with some. I heard every time I think about the movie, I think about that King's Dead song, and then I think about Future. Yeah.
Yeah, that shit had me dying. I was like,
his voice come from for that one.
Yeah. I was like, where? Like, it's so unexpected.
Yeah, he just said he gave no fucks. He was like, bro, I'm Future Hendrix.
I can do what I want. I was like, what? Okay, well, hey, all right, Future.
But I definitely want to go see the movie. I want to know what Marvel has like invested in. Whenever I see like black films funded by big companies, I was like, who's really getting paid off of this? I always think twice about that kind of stuff just because I be feeling like they be trying to get me sometimes. They be like, oh, we like black people too. I be like, where's the money really going? Like, who's General's Fried Chicken, huh? Like, who's trying to get me right now? Like, but I don't know. Maybe
who's the man behind it?
Who's the man behind the man putting this movie on and stuff like that? Because I think it's a great idea having all these beautiful black people in that film. I think we definitely deserve to have like some more superheroes, and you know, I think we deserve to have a whole different like incarnation of superheroes. But regardless of that, it just always be, I don't know, man, Marvel and all of them, I always be having my eyebrow at these movie companies, bruh. The Weinstein dude came out of nowhere, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
And I used to love movies to the Weinstein company. Ooh, this is going to be a great film. Now look at shit, hella different. Yeah. So now I just be like, I'm going to go watch Black Panther, but I'm about to read some articles too. I want to talk to some people from the movie.
Well, check out the Wakanda report that we did on Black Panther. It's a 5-part series where we broke down like, it's with Benjamin Ananwo. He basically broke down, the first part was we broke down Wakanda, the country where Black Panther's from, and put a spin on it as if it was a real country, things of that nature. And then part 2, it goes into about Killmonger, and it gives a interesting analysis of if Killmonger is more like Marcus Garvey and T'Challa is more like W.B. Du Bois on separatism versus integration ideas and how that will be encompassed in the film. So we take that kind of approach to the series. So I think even if you're not into Black Panther or the idea, but if you want to know about some history and how it will relate to the movie, it's something to check out. First, thank you for coming through and doing this interview. I appreciate it. Like I said, definitely go check out Real Person.
Thank you.
Definitely go check out 1993 and Hella Good. You should just get his discography, man.
All of it.
Just get it.
Run up the streams.
Yeah.
Nah,
shoot, I know I ran up your streams this week.
Man,
at least 20,000 spins.
Man, thank you. Yo, I'm honored, man. I really appreciate y'all having me on the show and just being able to talk candidly like this, and you know what I mean, just have the dialogue, because that's really important for the community, for the artists, just for everybody. You know what I mean? So I appreciate y'all having me on the show, man. For real.
Yeah, no problem, man. I want to say thank you to Spence for co-hosting this with me. And I want to say, you know, when your next project comes out, you know, let us know. Maybe we can get another interview.
Yeah, we'll be back.
and premiere and everything like that. So to let the people know, what's coming up next,
man.
we'll definitely go to his Instagram, Caleborate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. If you just Google Caleborate, you will find my SoundCloud, my Instagram, my Twitter, Facebook, anything, Spotify, Apple Music, articles about me, pictures, ugly pictures, cute pictures, everything. So I made everything like that just that way it's real quick and easy. You know what I'm saying? I'm for the people.
So yeah, like I said, check out his albums. Go get those tickets for that tour date.
Yes, please.
And I want to give Nick a shout out. Appreciate you setting it up, getting us the interview and everything. And Spence, you got anything before we get out of here?
Likewise, man. I just want to say thank you again for coming through. Always appreciate it. Always appreciate y'all bring the energy too, and DeRa for even having us a platform to do this. So that's what's really important. So
I appreciate that.
Up to you.
Everybody stay woke out there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's right. So our motto: live, listen to some great music, and above all, love more, because the world needs more of that. And we out.
Everybody stay woke out there.